WF representing Palace, so let's tell you about Palace. Rolling straight to the ceiling, crowns and crystals, top like journeys, dishing out malice. Hold up, South London's grandest, far from bandits. Anything earned for a goal of elevation, just passing the team over here might finish out bright future, we can't vanish. SE25 any day, that's sellers. Rev up the engines, no more reverse reactions, fan cams, bands on stream. Share up the team, support the dream team when eagles fly, make noise and scheme. Dare to dream or dream to dare, taking a step to become supreme.
Sorry, something's wrong with my volume.
Testing. Right, can you hear me? Testing.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right,
You know
cool.
what it was?
What was it?
So basically, my mic has this like dial at the bottom,
Yeah.
which controls the volume. Didn't realize that it was, yeah.
Blue pot already. A blue pot already. But hey, it matches the performance yesterday. So
Let's start again. Big up everyone. Welcome to the match reaction to the Crystal Palace game against Man City where we lost 5-2. I'm glad you can hear me now. I'm there like, oh, let's see what the chat's saying.
yeah,
Like mute. I'm like, what?
brother, I thought it was me because I'm scrambling trying to figure out was it my side? I was like, is it my computer?
Oh my gosh. Big
Oh,
up Stephen. Big up Spiritual.
Oh,
Turn
wow.
on your mic.
JC not here and there are tech issues. Facts.
Honestly. Good chat, cat. Guys, we speaking.
Oh, snap. Oh, snap.
Doug said speaking straight nothing.
Right. Shall we just...
Hey, Doug, leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Shall we just get through this one? Because I don't think it's going to be a long match reaction.
I don't think so. I might working
No.
like our defense.
Right.
Let's talk to. Right, Nate. First things first. How are you?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. I mean, I was good after 25 minutes on yesterday afternoon. I was like, oh, snap, 2-0 up, I swear. And then, yeah, it was what it was. But look, the caliber of opposition, I kind of said to myself, if you'd have given me 3 points against that lot last Saturday and a loss here, I'm taking it. But the manner of the defeat is what upset me because I'm like, it's one thing to lose. It's another to capitulate. And that's what happened yesterday. But again, You look at the quality they have on offer. We don't have that. So you can't really look at it and be like, oh, I can't believe we lost. It's like, no, we were due a defeat. And I'd rather lose to this lot than lose to the other lot last weekend. Because then I would have just, no.
No, absolutely. But you made a very good
point. Otherwise, bro, I'm good otherwise. But yeah, I was just like, part of me is okay with it. And part of me was like, why did we bother? Because we not just left the 3 points at the door and just sacked it off. Just sack off every league game until the cup semi-final. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a good way of looking at this. To be fair, you made a great point first in saying that the first 25 minutes started off well, and I think that the manner of which we ended up losing is the upsetting bit. Well, let's start with the positives. Like I said, first 20-25 minutes. Now, let's not fool ourselves. City had their chances. Even in that 20-25 minutes, they had chances.
Oh, yeah.
Navigated that bit well. We obviously hit them in the break, which we expected to do. First goal comes from Sarr, and we worked it well. Managed to work it on the right-hand side. And Sarr and Rodgers were just exploiting that left-hand side. And to be fair, O'Reilly, since he's come in, has been very good. But I think his inexperience showed just in that first 20-25 minutes.
Yeah.
Where we could have easily had 3 or 4 goals ourselves. You know, granted, we had Ebbs' goal that got disallowed, and Sarr had a chance as well at 2-0 to make it 3. It's a nice little tap in on the far side. Then we've gone to, like, all of a sudden now scoring goals from corners as well. Pritchard
Peace FC.
Honestly, got a 2-0 lead. You know, what was your thoughts when we went 2-0 up at the time?
I won't lie. Part of me was like, okay, this is good. I think the confidence from winning against that lot a week ago was quite evident in the team, despite the fact that we lost the skipper and Nketiah to silly yellow cards in both regards, but they were yellow cards, therefore they had to be red cards. But I'll be honest, like I said at the start of the show before this, I was kind of expecting to lose to City yesterday, because we're one of those teams where, like, when we don't need a result at City, we get it. But when we kind of are thinking to ourselves, no, we actually do need to turn up because we can still get Europe through the league, I was kind of thinking, no, I'd rather focus on the cup, because that City team yesterday, by their standards, weren't great. You know, their own fans weren't particularly impressed by how they performed. But I'll be honest, like, at 2-0 up, I was like, okay, that's a great start to the game. But there's also that part of me that knows, wait a minute, 2-0 is the most dangerous scoreline in football. And then the offside goal happens, and I'm thinking, okay, it's marginally offside, but it's marginally offside, so you can't really have too much of a gripe with it. If it's a case of it's a toenail or a kneecap offside, you're like, really? You're just nitpicking to find a way for it to be offside. But thankfully, this is one of those where they just said, no, look, categorically, it's offside. Can't do anything about it. What killed me was the minute De Bruyne scores from the gift of a free kick by Kamada, I said, Kamada's going to get scapegoated, and to a degree, rightly so, because he shouldn't be gifting a free kick that close to our own penalty area for anyone to be scoring from. But I'm also sat there saying, I'm not mad. I'm obviously not impressed that we lost 5-2, because that's a damning scoreline, especially being 2-0 up. But in a weird kind of way, I'm in the mindset of we were due a defeat. And if it has to be against Man City, Newcastle, or Arsenal, you kind of expect it. If we lose 5-2 to Bournemouth, I'm absolutely incensed, because as good as the season they've had, they're not on the same level as Newcastle, Arsenal, and Man City. So, look, on the one hand, I don't like seeing us lose 5-2. I don't. I hate it. But having said that, we weren't good enough. We switched off at 2-0 up, and that's criminal to do in any game of football. Doesn't matter if it's Manchester City, Exeter City, Cambridge City. You don't switch off at 2-0 up. You get that third goal, you make it absolutely damn near impossible for the opposite team to get back into the game. And on another day, we probably don't concede 4 or 5 to this City team. But having said that, because we did switch off, City just turned another gear. And then you saw they managed to get the win in the end. And of course, players are scoring their first ever goals for the club against us. Why does this not surprise me? But there is one positive. Rico Lewis finally didn't score. My God in heaven. I think this guy saves his goals against us. He'll miss open goals against any other opposition in the league. But the minute, I'm playing Palace. Oh, yeah, I'm scoring today. Well, not yesterday, but not our worst performance this season. I've seen us lose by less.
Nothing would beat the Fulham at home one. That was probably our worst performance.
Well, you see, again, this is what I'm saying, is that even though it's a loss to City, I'm not sat here saying that was terrible. We were awful. I'm sat here saying that 2-0 up, we surrendered, and that's criminal. That needs to be looked at because the manager's to blame for that because his subs were wrong. Team selection wasn't particularly the best, but he had to play the cards he was dealt. And overall, 1-11, a lot of that team let themselves down yesterday, and they let down the fans that made the journey up to Manchester. So I don't hate City for what they did yesterday because, look, end of the day, you expect them to do that. But, yeah, just like I said, sack off the next 3 league games and just focus solely on the cup. Play the kids in all 3 league games. I don't care if it brings us into credibility checks and all of that. I don't care. We don't care about the league anymore. We're already safe. So, like, do we have anything to lose? Because, like, let's be real. We're not getting anything against Newcastle. We're not really getting anything against Arsenal. And Bournemouth, I don't know. But the FA Cup is really our best option. But
yeah, I mean, let's break down these key moments. So obviously, we scored the 2 goals. Now, I've seen even a few comments, whether it's through Twitter, whether it's even on our fan cams and stuff. And it was more so like under like JC and Chairman's fan cam. But I know with my fan cam, I'm not saying that Kamada's at fault for 5 goals. No, because Henderson had a stinker. Lerma wasn't as comfortable as usual. Lacroix didn't have his best game, you know. However, what I was alluding to in the sense of it was a pivotal moment in the game. I think De Bruyne is running away from God. He's trying to get a shot off, and he's baiting Kamada to make a tackle, just baiting him. And when you look at the Brighton game as well, Kamada slid in at a point, and that's not his fault. That was Ebbs losing the ball, and he slid in and missed the ball then as well before Minte crossed it in for Welbeck's one. If Kamada stays on his feet, De Bruyne has one of 2. I believe with De Bruyne, has one of 2 options: pass it out wide or shoot, rather than a direct free kick. So I think it's like I said, it was them scoring. Literally, because I was watching just before I went training. Once I saw the free kick, I was like, "Oh no! If they score from this, we're done for," because it was just like I said, momentum. Dean Henderson is at fault, and so is the wall. Now, you build a wall, and I know the rules now say that you can't have players in the wall. They have to be like maybe a yard or 2 ahead or whatever. But this is why I say, I think we're just too nice. We're too nice as a club. Who's there pushing the Man City players away from the wall? No one. Who's like the fact that it's gone through the wall, not over the wall, it's gone through the wall. And I believe Wharton turned his back on it, which weren't great. Which then obviously wrong side, like Henderson's taken a step too early. Like, it's your side, trust your wall to be able to defend the other side. Don't move. Just stay where you are. Because when you think about it, it's right by him. But because he's taken that step, he's had a bit of a wobble and he can't react. You know, all throughout that whole sequence of events, it was just shocking. And the moment they scored that goal, my goodness me, our backs were against the wall. We were in trouble. And I'm going to bring up something quickly, guys, just to show how we struggled against this City side. And it wasn't just after we went 2-0 up. It was happening throughout the game. So, excuse me for not obviously changing the City colours. They should obviously be blue. But this is pretty much how they set up when they were attacking. They were trusting Diaz and Vardy to just be at the back. Obviously, we had kept everyone, but we've not had to face this before. In where normally it's just one striker and two wingers. They had O'Reilly and who was playing on the right side? Lewis playing high up, which meant De Bruyne, McAtee, and Marmoush were so close to each other. Like, they were just popping it off. And you know who I want to give a massive credit to? Kovacic. I think he had a very, very good game in the middle of the park. Like, he dictated everything. So normally when a ball's played into here, normally this is how teams are setting up. So we've got the opportunity. So you got the three wingers, you got the wingers, you got the striker. That's how teams normally set up attack.
Yeah.
But because it was like this, oh my gosh, we struggled. McAtee should have scored. I think he tried to lob it over, got it wrong. He missed a header as well, I think, within the 6-yard box. We were struggling anyway. And this was even before we scored our goals. You know what I mean? So I'm happy with what Glasner was saying at the time. He said, listen, he said to Pep, you play that system again, we'll have a solution. Because it's not something we've played against.
Yeah.
So, Glasner's like a master tactician.
Yeah.
He got the tactics wrong. Pep got it spot on. He got it absolutely spot on,
But do you know what? To add to that, Rich, that's the good thing about Glasner, though, is that the likes of previous managers who've gone up to Man City, yes, the likes of Hodgson have absolutely ished house, wins up there, draws up there, and whatever. But we knew what to expect. It's going to be men behind the ball, no creativity, no width, no expansion. Hopefully Zaha, when he was here, did something with it, or it was Andros, or it was Michael, it was whoever. But look, tactically, we just got outdone by a far superior team. And yes, people will look at the fact that we went 2-0 up and be like, how could you not have seen that game out? But look at the players we did not have available. We still don't have Chet Decore. Chadi Riyad's knee exploded on him, so he's not back to the start of next season at best. And Ketia and Gay both suspended. And you can see in the comments, people are saying we missed Gay yesterday. Because, of course,
I'm going to get onto that, but yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, that was a precursor to what life could be like without Mark Gay. So hopefully, the scouting department and Ian Moody and that, because obviously Friedman's leaving, they need to be looking at it thinking, okay, we need a centre-back that's not like for like Mark Gay, but in the mould of Mark Gay to replace him. Because I saw on Hopkin Looking at Cohen's podcast, or should I say I heard, we were looking at this Greek centre-back. We'll get into that in a little bit. But yesterday was the perfect benchmark for us to say, okay, we've done a lot of good in 2025 since we last lost a game, which I believe was Arsenal in the League Cup until yesterday. We've done unbelievable.
Yeah, we've been incredible.
Yeah, if we were conceding goals, we had answers to why we were conceding goals. I mean, for Christ's sake, look back to Southampton two games ago before we played Brighton. We're all looking at this result going, why are we losing to this lot? Why? They're not great. Granted, we're not world beaters ourselves, but we're a much better team than them. Luckily for us, France have bailed us out. But what killed a lot of people yesterday, from what I could see on social media, was people were saying the squad depth has been an issue for a number of years now. It's not just since Glasner's been here. And this is where a lot of people look at the board, not just Parish, but the others at board level and say, where's the depth here? Because Ben Chilwell probably should have played again instead of Mitchell, because Mitchell, again, from what I heard, looks suspect. Now, I'm not solely putting this on player A, player B. From 1 to 11, as I said earlier, our team were not good enough. We got tactically outdone by Pep, and City just went a level above us. And yes, this City team are far from what they have been in previous years. But let's keep it real. They're 4-time champions on the bounce. No, they're not has-beens. They're a serious team that just have been massively outdone by a Liverpool team that are, riding the crest of a wave under Arne Slot. But we've still got to play Liverpool, still got to play Arsenal, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Spurs.
Yeah, the run is crazy.
But again, that's the joy of it now, is that we've got this game out of the way. Newcastle, we don't do well up there anyway. But knowing us, we'll probably turn up against St. James's Park. But I can't see it happening. We just have to hope that with Gay and Nketiah back for the FA Cup semi-final, we just need to stop gifting stupid yellow cards. because that's been the Achilles heel all season. Will Hughes was missing for wasn't it Ipswich? It was Ipswich and was it Southampton? And luckily we talked without him. But it's one of those games where, look, I have no issue that we lost, but I don't like that we lost because I'm thinking I've seen us play worse and do better. Make it make sense.
Yeah.
And, it's Palace. What we do.
Cheers. Let's discuss Mark Gay's absence quickly. Then we'll talk Glasner because fair play to Glasner. He actually came out and said, I made a mistake. And he's done that quite a few times this season where he takes ownership. But so I'm going to bring this back up regarding Lerma. Now, look, we know Lerma's better at centre mid. And I think against a team like Brighton, I think we could get away with this. But whenever Lerma got the ball, his first instinct was just to knock it long. So there was no outlet, unfortunately. No outlet. And even with that, like Kamada would because Mitchell's so deep, like we were so like we were struggling to get out.
Yeah,
Kamada would come across here, literally, and then you got Wharton on his own. So either way, it was a big problem.
Yeah, they had us
Ebbs will try and absolutely penned in. And this is where we miss Mark, because what Mark does well is that if need be, didn't want to highlight that player, but if need be, he's running with the ball, which creates a bit of space as well. Or he's just a bit more composed to find the pass and stuff. So once again, not blaming the complete unit in a sense, but these factors do play a part. And I know a lot of people saying, what do you call it? Mark was a big miss. He was a massive, massive miss in this instance, you know. Big up, Tom. And I did have a read of your comment about Palace. And you know what? One thing I will say about those who like have an opinion, don't apologize for the opinion you have. You know what I mean? Like, this is what football is about. It's about that. If we all agreed, what's the point? What's the point? You know what I mean? And Tom was saying in the comments that, like, look, we're just going to continue to fail. And please correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, if I've misquoted you in any way, shape, or form. And he was just saying, like, we're just going to continue in this cycle of just failing, you know? And look, we could go to individual players. We could go to the gaffer in this one as well. Realistically, it starts from top to bottom anyway. And we know how, you know what the board is like. But just talking on Glasner, I wouldn't say his tactics have been found out yet, because I think he's, considering we've upgraded and what he's done with Sarr, considering we had lost Elise, you know, what he's done, I think we're good at what we do. Let's just be honest there. We're good at what we do. He made a cardinal sin in bringing off Mateta for Hughes because he changed the whole system. We ended up having zero outlet. Now, granted, Mateta only had 5 touches of the ball, but you've got to keep your shape. So because he changed it to effectively a 3-5-2, Sarr can't play with back to goal. Like, no. That's not his strength.
No.
You know, Ebbs ended up being like a second centre forward, and Will Hughes was playing left wing. It didn't work. What he should have done, kept Mateta on and just did Hughes for Kamada, because Kamada was on the yellow card.
Yeah.
And see how that goes for like 15, 20 minutes. Then you can bring on the likes of França or whatever changes you needed to make. And if you desperately needed to take Mateta off, then put Sarr up as a lone striker, but still have that width. Yeah,
even if França doesn't really fit the role of a striker, you put someone there that's an attacking-minded player. Taking off Mateta for Will Hughes, it's a Roy Hodgson substitution, and
it was not good.
What on earth? Like, whatever about Nketiah being suspended, like, and I'm not saying that Odsonne Edouard would be the answer, but there's me thinking we could have done with a striker on the bench, even if it's an academy striker.
Even if it was Jordan Ayew. we just needed to keep our shape. We shouldn't have changed. we just we literally went right into Man City's hands.
But that's to be expected, though. That's the thing. Like nobody sat here shocked that we lost to Manchester City. I think we're shocked in the manner in which we capitulated. Because look, even on their worst days, we've seen City rip teams apart, where their own fans have said we weren't good enough. Pep has said we weren't good, but they've got enough individual quality across the board where they can play absolutely bad by their standards and still rip a team apart 5-6-0, this, that, the other. What really disappointed me wasn't even that, we've we got slapped 5-2, is that we were lucky it wasn't more, because it should have been. The amount of chances City had even when they had scored 5. I had a friend of mine who was watching it because he works for a broadcaster over here. He was saying it could have been 9, could have been double digits. But again, and as the big dog says, back the manager 100%. It's not solely it's not solely a sense of the players are rubbish, the manager's rubbish, this, that, the other. It's a bad day at the office. We were beaten by far and away by the superior team, both on and off the pitch. And we've seen Glasner say so many things that we don't hear other managers who've been here before say. Vieira never took responsibility when things went wrong. Hodgson always blamed the players. Hodgson always looked for an excuse as to why we were losing games or drawing games or whatever. Glasner's openly said, we weren't good enough today.
Yeah. And he mentioned it specifically. He said our defense wasn't good. And that's what's been our staple. That's what's been the thing that's carried us, our defense being good. He was upright and said, listen, we were rubbish. But what I liked about what he did is he didn't take away from the fact that he made a mistake. He openly said, I've made a mistake.
100%. But again, that's what I mean, is that we're all, a lot of people are looking at it for the negativity and being like, we lost this, that, the other. Yeah, we lost. Get over it. Like, if you we've gone from January to just touching the middle of April. We haven't lost.
Yeah, we've done so well.
Do people actually realize that to go damn near half the season unbeaten in and of itself as Crystal Palace is unheard of? And people can throw in that, we drew against this team and that team. We don't care. We still got results on the board from some fairly poor games. Southampton away was a disaster of a performance, still got something from it. Yesterday was a lesson that, we're good, but we're not that good. There's still an awful lot of work in progress that needs to be done before we can start to really see ourselves as top 10 contenders. That's why Fulham and Bournemouth fans were laughing at us this season, because we all got carried away with the back end of last season, and rightly so. We were brilliant at the back end of last season. But look at the start we had to where we are now. We're all saying, Elise was a big part in that, but he had to go. He was never going to stay if Bayern Munich come knocking, And then you're hearing people, Spurs want to sign half of Crystal Palace to make themselves look good. Like, you want Eze, you want our manager, you want our team, you want our kitman, you probably want Pete the Eagle. They want everything us. That's why one of their fans tried to defect to us, and I'm like, nah, big man, you're not welcome over here. You stay where you are. And I know you put that in the group chat earlier this week, because that was something else. I won't go into that, but my point is, yes, yesterday was a horrible performance in regards to we got beat. We weren't looking like the normal Crystal Palace that we've grown accustomed to. But people, take it into context. From January to April, we haven't lost a game of football. Yeah. And granted, one of those was a mid-season friendly against a team I've never even heard of. But my point is that there are players at this club that won't be here next season. We'll have to look at replacing players that will either leave for big money or they're just not good enough anymore. Sentiment has been killing us for years. Joel Ward and Nathaniel Klein should not still be at the football club. I've said this how many times before, and people have shot me down. But they've been such great servants in the past. That's the past. They're not the future. And look, yesterday was a prime example of what we want to be, which is competing at the top end of the table in regards to 10th, 9th, and 8th, and that'll push 7th. We're closer than we were, but we're still a ways away from where that is. And that's the joy of it, is that we're able to see the progress, but we're also able to look at it and go, do you know what? We're a good few players away from it. And people are also correct saying that the loss really isn't down to Kamada. It's not, but they're going to scapegoat him, because when things go wrong, it's quick to jump on one player and be like, that's the reason that he's the reason we lost. Yeah. No, 1 to 11, the whole team were dreadful.
Yeah, we were poor. Like I said,
Henderson, dreadful.
That was one of his worst games, actually.
But do you know what? I'm happy he dropped a clanger because it will humble him and it will make the fans realize, you know what? We're not actually, we're still a work in progress.
Absolutely spot on. And it goes to, I believe, a few of them in the comments, a big up to everyone, have said, we'd rather it happens now than on April 26th. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, honestly.
Bro, facts.
And I think the last time we had a heavy defeat, which was Arsenal at home in the league, it kind of catapulted us to just do better, you know.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm glad we've got this humbling out the way. The one thing I will want to say is Pep did his homework on Glasner. Here's why. We're so used to seeing the Man City side with the likes of like maybe Grealish or Doku or Foden. He benched all of them. He went for the more intricate passing players like Kovacic, Gundogan, De Bruyne, like even McAtee. Oh my goodness me. Like they were just back, just bouncing it. Marmouche is probably is generally the end of the season. I must say, he has come into City with the pressure of trying to replace Haaland. And look, he's a monster. Like, I'm not gonna say he's not. But when Marmouche plays, things happen with that City play. And like Lacroix he just made Lacroix run all over the gaff. Like, I was just watching this guy, I was like, these guys are running us ragged. And like I said, even before we went 2-0 up, they could have easily had 4. You know, De Bruyne was unbelievable yesterday. Like, he said, you know what, Crystal Palace, you lot have given me a ball ache the last couple of seasons, especially at Etihad. If this is the last game I'm playing against you, I'm going to make it a good one, you know? But what I'm getting at is that now we can see, all right, cool. If we're playing against a more intricate side, this is what we might need to do better. And I'm sure Glasner will do his homework. I'm so happy that within this game yesterday, we've seen what happens if we make like defensive errors. What happens if we play against an intricate side and not against direct wingers? Like we've learned so much in this one game. And like I said, once again, I mentioned it earlier, big up to Glasner saying, listen, I said to Pep Guardiola, if he plays that system again, we will have an answer for it. You know, Glasner has learned from yesterday. He's made mistakes and he's going to learn from it. Get all the cobwebs out, please, because April 26th, we need our best performance ever. That's where we need our best performance, you know, and nothing going wrong.
No,
loads of comments.
For sure, because again, like as I said at the start of the show, once we got our tech issues out of the way, April 26th categorically is the biggest game of our season. And I know people might look at me funny and say, oh, but wouldn't the final be? Absolutely. But until we know for a fact we will be at the final, and I'm not saying we will be, because Villa are a massive opportunity for us to get humbled, because they are a quality side. Don't let the fact that we beat them in the League Cup and we smashed them at Selhurst Park fool you. They're not an easy team to play against. And bear in mind, if they do turn it around against PSG, that could work in our favor. But we don't know what Aston Villa team we're going to be facing come April 26th. So from now until then, we needed a game like this out of us to say, do you know what, boy, we got humbled. Because you need to be. When you go on a run like we did, right, it's easy to get carried away and look at it and go, oh, yeah, we'll win that. We'll win that. We'll win that. So when you don't win, you're like, oh, snap. Oh, actually, hang on. Okay, we might actually have to do a bit of homework here. And look, I can see why people are saying that, you know, people solely pointing the finger at Kamada is bad and this, that, the other, and da-da-da-da-da. But criticizing players doesn't make you a bad supporter. Criticizing the manager, all of that, no, that's fine. It's when people stubbornly stick to a certain camp and be like, I'm not criticizing Ebere Eze because he's my favorite player. Ebbs has a stinker. I've seen JC torch him in the group chat. I've seen you torch him in the group chat. Nicky's done it. Dan's done it. I've done it. None of us stick to, this is my favorite player. I'm not.
Yeah.
We've all said, no, he's having a mare. You know? Yeah. So anyone.
And to reiterate, like we said earlier, Kamada's not up for all 5 goals.
No.
It's just his reckless challenge.
Yeah.
Just built the momentum for Man City.
Yeah.
Look, he may not have made that tackle. We may still have lost 4-5-2. We don't know.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
it just gave them that goal, that 2-1 goal. Just, oh my gosh, it literally sucked the life out of us completely. Like it was a massive turning point. But I wouldn't say that he's up for all 5. It was stupid. Let's just call it that.
Yeah, no, 100%. But again, this is where you see people stick to a narrative that suits their agenda, and I'm known for an agenda. I mean, for Christ's sake, it's on my Twitter bio. The man behind the term Charity Professional Football Club. Because the minute I heard that O'Reilly had scored his first goal against us, I went, I don't want to tweet it out. I really don't want to tweet it out.
He's a good player, by the way.
No, he is. And listen, give him his flowers. Fair play to him. But again, this is where I've got to the point where I'm like, you know what? We just weren't good enough yesterday. So I take no issue with the fact that we lost. I just take issue with the manner in which we capitulate, because I'm like, I've seen us do better. Wherever about we lost, that's football. It happens. You're up, you're down. It is what it is. Just, if we're going to lose, don't capitulate in such a ridiculous fashion that you're thinking, losing is fine. It happens. I mean, that wasn't as bad as Fulham at home. You were there, so you know better than me how bad that was. That was. But again, like, go back to the FA Cup game against Fulham. All of their chat about we've learned our lessons and and we were like, no, you didn't learn no lesson. Now look at this game. We've gone, do you know what? We drew against City at home. We might draw again. It's like, nah, that City were peed off that they drew against us. Because remember, we took the lead twice in that game. It wasn't just we nabbed a point. We could have won that game. But again, the quality the City have, even with an injured Erling Haaland on the shelf, they got the job done in the 90 minutes. And we have to go, do you know what? We're still a ways away from where we want to be. But we're much closer than we would have been around this time last year under Roy Hodgson or Frank de Boer, Sam Allardyce, Tony Pulis, Alan Pardew. Every other manager we've had since we've been back in the Premier League, none of them would have held themselves accountable the way that Glasner did. But it's not solely down to Glasner or the players. It's a combination of both elements. And it's also in credit to Manchester City, how well they are as a team, even when they're not at their very best. So, oh, Lord, just for the love of God, lads, just don't do that at Wembley, please. Whatever about Newcastle, Arsenal, Bournemouth, I'm not mad at that. The league is more or less over for us.
Yeah. You know what's mad? Like, when we were 2-0 up, I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, like, could we finish 8th? We lost the game, and I'm thinking, all right, well, expect us to lose. Focus on the cup.
Yeah.
Grant is results have still actually gone in our favor, which is mad. But just focus on the cup.
Oh, no, 100%. 100%. But again, this is the thing, is that if we were out of the FA Cup, I have a total different reaction to this result, because I'm like, lads, this is not how we wanted the dream to die. But having said that, we're still miles away from where we want to be, because our squad depth is an issue. It's an issue that hasn't been rectified on a number of different windows. So I'm not sat here saying, how did we lose? I'm thinking, we lost because we still have players here that we've shown far too much loyalty to. Yes, back in the day, they were brilliant. But Jeffrey Schlupp, Klein, Ward, they're just 3 names that come. Oh, Son Edouard, there's 4 players that realistically should have been moved on ages ago. With any luck, they will be moved on in the summer. Can't see us getting much money for most of them. But point is that, yes, there was an awful lot of telling in the way in which that game happened. But look, we've got a really bad result out of our system. We now have to focus on not being humbled by Arsenal and Newcastle, maybe snatching a point against Bournemouth, because they don't look as great as they were at the start of the season. So with any luck, we might get something at Bournemouth, but just focus on the cup, because with any luck, Forest knocks City out. We might squeak past Villa, and then it's another day at Wembley. But again, it's not a given that will happen, because this Villa team are still a good side.
No, absolutely. I tried to log in to get the correct tier list, and I think I went to the wrong place, which is a shame. Because JC did send me all the details. By the way, I did see Damon's message. Is JC okay? He's good. He just couldn't make it today. That's all it was, and stuff. But you know what? Let's go and get let's do the player ratings. I know you put the squad in the chat yesterday, mate. There we go. All right. So, Nate, Dean Henderson.
Well, we've already said it wasn't his best game, so and considering he did alongside his teammates concede 5 goals, I can't give him any higher than a 5. You know, and I'm not saying it's 5, but if he goes above 5, I'm talking smack. But because of how poor we were defensively from 1 to 11, I'm going to say a 3. He was bad, which is good because if he's this bad, he has to be improving in the next game. So I'm saying 3 for Dean Henderson.
Okay, Daniel Munoz, I think he started off really well, actually. I think obviously just the manner in which the whole team collapsed was his downfall. I'll give him a 5. Chris Richards.
Do you know what? I really can't fault Chris Richards yesterday. I mean, look, as I said, I can't give them too much praise because we got absolutely slapped yesterday. He took his goal well. I don't think he knew too much about it, but I'd have to give him a 4 because defensively we were a shambles. So I can't really praise him too highly because I gave Henderson a 3. So I'll say 4 for Chris Richards because 1 to 11 we weren't good enough yesterday. And I know I keep repeating that, but that's exactly what you have to do in this scenario. Is that as much as he did well to score his goal, we weren't good enough yesterday. So yeah, 4 for Chris Richards.
Maxence Lacroix, I think it's probably his worst game in the Palace shirt. I think he found it difficult.
That or Arsenal, because he got rinsed by Jesus against Arsenal. Jesus.
But then once again, that was collectively just poor round, to be honest.
Oh yeah. They were clinical, but again, that's what I'm saying is that it says a lot that his 2 poorest games playing for us have been against 2 of the teams that have been contending for the title. Although granted, City have fallen off massively from where they were, but you see what I'm saying. Against teams that we would expect him to be tortured by, he's done very little wrong. But ironically, the 2 games we conceded 5 in the league, he was, very bad. So yeah, I would agree with you on that one.
No, absolutely. I'm going to give Lacroix 4. Lama.
Playing out of position normally would save him from a harsh score, but again, I can't really put him higher than either Lacroix or Richards. So 4. Yeah, I can't really I can't do a Stuart shave and praise the team when they've been crap because I just refuse to be that person. So yeah, I'm gonna say a 4.
Mitchell. He found it. Once again, first 20-25 minutes. He just is delivery in the final third was just poor. There were actual openings within that first 20-25. The issue, I think, defensively, he wasn't good either. He really didn't have a good game. And Chilwell looked bright when he came on, to be fair to him. I'm going to give Mitchell a 3.
Yeah.
Go on, I'll give you Adam one. I won't be mean. I won't give you Dachi.
No. Hey, it's all the one to me. I mean, again, nobody really stood out as our best player, but don't really think Wharton covered himself in glory yesterday because none of the teams did. But again, I can't go over a 5 for anyone yesterday. Because if I do that, I must be talking out the side of my neck. So I'm going to give him a 4, which I don't like doing. But again, you have to be honest in these situations. You can't just protect certain players because they're your better players. He wasn't, none of him, the whole team weren't good. So yeah, I'm going to say a 4 for him. But Animal makes a great point there.
Yeah, I mean, you do get a lot of the times. There are fan favorites. Like fans have favorite players. It happens and stuff. I hate it when Ebbs loses the ball because he always loses it in stupid areas. Like even the goal against Brighton that we conceded, he tried to flick, and that's the reason why they built up from that goal. And he's done it numerous times. I think there was even another time where he tried to dribble out last weekend, and it led to who had the shot? No, I'm thinking Ipswich, where Delap nearly scored. He loses the ball in stupid areas at times.
Yeah.
Where do I get to? Daichi Kamada.
Yeah. You couldn't have saved the best for last. You had to.
Yeah, he was so good. You know what? He deserved this start. I mean, as much as I think tactically Hughes would have been the better option, he was so good against Carter was good against Brighton. We cannot deny that. So he deserved another start. He just found it difficult. He found it very difficult, and he's just got to stay on his feet at that moment. Granted, Wharton found it. I think the whole team found it difficult. We weren't good.
No.
Give Kamada a 3. Ismail Assar.
Got the assist for the Ebbs goal, and to be fair, he had a great chance, as you said at the top of the show. So you could argue it was one of his better games because he has been anonymous in some games this season. But again, sticking to the consistency of the player ratings, I don't really want to be protecting certain players because they're fan favorites. 3.5, if that's because I know we got an assist, but again, from 1 to 11, nobody really shone, and nobody really would merit a high score in that performance. Because look, I've said it before, that Man City team weren't great, but where needed to, they got the job done, and we were victims of our own downfall. Masters of our own downfall. So yeah, I'm gonna say 3.5.
3 or 4, because we don't do halves.
All right, 4, because he did get an assist, but again, if I go any higher than that, then I might get absolutely rinsed. So yeah, 4. Sorry, 4.
Eze, he was actually my man in the match, but I remember I'm only going by the 30 minutes. It was a bit annoying that he was offside. I think he could have done better because you're looking across the line. You know, I think he could have held his run. But then let's just say hypothetically, if he held his run, would he have had the same output? We don't know. But yeah, he looks lively to start off with, but I can't give anyone more than a 5, to be honest. So yeah, 5 for Ebbs. JP.
Again, I mean, one striker available against Manchester City. Granted, Nketiah's second yellow was a brain-dead second yellow, but it was a second yellow nonetheless because his first yellow was ridiculous. But anyway, you can't expect too much from him because he was isolated when he was on the pitch. The substitution to take him off made no sense, but I think in the context of the game, with Hughes being a defensive player, you might say there was a bit of credit to it. Can't go any higher than a 4, if I'm honest. And I don't like it because Mateta, for me, my opinion on him has changed massively from when he walked in the door. Now I can't imagine Palace without him, and I'd be horrified if we sold him because I was one of those that was pushing for Edouard to be over him, but pause just in case. But my point is that Mateta, we know what he can do, but he was so isolated yesterday. Nothing was really working for him. And again, the lack of proactive recruitment in the window has haunted us. And I'm not saying no other signings would have made a difference yesterday. I'm not saying that at all. But Mateta couldn't have done any more than he had, and he had one of his poorer games. So yeah, I'm gonna say a 4. Oh my god! Ow.
Before we do the subs, I've dropped the link. If anyone wants to join us and have their say, you're more than welcome to. Will Hughes, standard 5, I guess. Like, he came on at a tough time, to be honest. Who else came on? Chua.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you said he looked bright, so on that metric alone, I'd say a 5 might be a bit generous, but arguably a 4 could be harsh. So I will actually just give him a 5 for the sake of he wasn't as bad as some people might say. But yeah, we'll go with a 5 just for the sake, just to get the player ratings done and dusted.
Yeah, Frantzar, I think he looks bright as well, look lively. He's a player that likes to go forward, which is good. And Gladden's trusting him a lot more again, which shows that his fitness is definitely picked up.
I want to see more of him, by the way, because when I seen he'd scored against Southampton, I was like, I'm proud of the boy. He done well, and we needed him to have that moment for all the injury hell he'd been to. So yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll give 5 as well. and Devaney, who wasn't on for long, to be honest.
Devaney, yeah.
Oh wait, did Klein come on as well? Actually, he did.
He did. Klein came on as well.
Yeah, I'll do Klein, then I'll do Devaney then.
Oh, Klein. Oh my God, it's... See, again, I can't really be harsh on him because he had nothing to do with it really, because he's only there as a last resort option off the bench. So I'll say a 4 for Klein, because I feel like giving him a 1 or a 2 would be massively harsh. So I'll have to say a 4. But
Yeah,
therein lies the problem. Imagine Nathaniel Klein is your option off the bench in 2025. No disrespect to him, because we know how good he was for us in the past and everything, but Sentiment FC has been our Achilles heel for God knows how long. We need to stop doing that, in my opinion. But I hear why people are saying, they've done well for us in the past. But sorry, we'll move on to Devaney. I don't mean to talk to you.
no, it's all good. Devaney, I'll just give him I'll give him a 4 or 5. I'm just good, basically, like, he wasn't on for long,
Yeah.
and that's not his fault. So I think he did well when he came on, to be honest.
Yeah.
Let's just give him a standard 5.
Yeah,
I can't really fault the subs, to be honest.
No, definitely not.
Cool. All right. If no one's joining us, we'll wrap it up there, guys. I believe Tax Eagle is going to be Tuesday, so potentially there may be a match preview tomorrow. So look out for the notifications.
Oh, yesterday's result now softened as Spurs are losing 4-2 to Wolves. If Express is doing a watch along, I'm definitely going to be watching that.
Chelsea have gone from 2-0 down there 2-2 against Ipswich, and Liverpool winning 2-1 against West Ham, which is annoying because I initially put 2-1 as prediction and changed it to 2-0. Great.
The annoying thing is that I put in 2-1 Palace, and when it went 2-1, I was like, please, hold on. And of course, I knew it weren't going to happen, but I was just like, well, one time I back us to beat City, and look what happens.
In future, I am not backing Palace to beat City. Let me continue to, full-time Wolves beat Spurs 4-2. I think, does that almost, like, Ipswich are going to be close to relegation as well themselves, no? Let's have a look at the standings. 6 games to go. They are 14 points of West Ham, actually. That is crazy. That is mad. You know what? We win our game in hand. We actually go 10th. 2 points behind the Scum and 2 points behind Fulham as well. It's so mad that one result could turn our season again. We're like, oh, we could get through the league.
The annoying thing about our game in hand, though, it's Newcastle.
It's Newcastle.
I'd rather it be Southampton or Ipswich. But, of course, the footballing gods are like, wait, what? You want Palace to have an easy run in towards the end of the season? Nah, we don't do that over here. You got to do it. You got to do it the horrible way. But if I'm not mistaken, we did it under Big Sam. We had like Arsenal, Liverpool, and was it Chelsea in 1 week and beat all of them? Or because we beat Arsenal 3-0. I think we beat Liverpool away at Anfield because Benteke and Tompkins scored. And then I think we went away or won at home against Chelsea or something like that. So one of those mad runs where you're like, this is a horrible run into the season, and we beat all the teams we weren't expected to beat. But we never do well at Newcastle, so I'll just take a point and run. 100%. Just absolutely ish house a 1-1 draw and just tee off a lot of 48,000 Geordies.
Yeah, fair. It's like, we're going to finish 12th. It is what it is.
Hey, I'm happy with 12th place, because let's keep it a buck. Like, we're 5 points ahead of Man United. We are 6 points clear of Spurs. And we're already guaranteed safety anyway. Not that we were talking about relegation, because we've been safe for a while. And spiritually, I hear you when you say Southampton almost beat us. They did, but therein lies the problem. When we expect to beat a team, we look like we're fighting relegation. When we don't expect anything, we actually turn up for once. Although, granted, yesterday, I think a lot of our fans got carried away and we saw what happened.
One of them. Yeah. Anyway, guys, please smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. Share the channel as well. 2-game week again. We've had a lot of 3-game weeks, like 3 games in 6 days. We had a lot of those. So obviously we've got Newcastle Wednesday, so we'll prep for that. So look out for that. And then obviously Bournemouth on Saturday. Give me 4 points from those 2 games. I'm happy. Honestly, I'm happy.
And then forget about the game on the 23rd. We don't really care about that game.
That off. Play the under 21s.
Play the kids. Play the kids. Play the kids.
Honestly,
play the kids. Don't play a single first team player.
That Arsenal
play
game,
the kids.
sack it off. Honestly, like we don't need any needless injuries going into that Villa game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah. All right. There we have it, guys. Now I appreciate you all. Thanks for all this love and the support. Apologies for the muting at the start.
Hey, but technical issues do happen. People.
It was just something as simple as this. Like, as soon as I turn this down, you're not going to hear me. So, anything when I turn it up. There we go. I'm back again. Anyway, guys, like, share, subscribe, and we're up. Up the Palace.
Up the Palace.
Yeah.